Adaise was the pride of her parents, the first in their family to attend university. Her father, a struggling farmer, and her mother, a petty trader, had sacrificed everything to see her through school. They sold part of their farmland, tightened their belts, and endured hunger just to gather enough money for her tuition and upkeep. Before Adaise left for the university, her mother sat her down and spoke to her with tears in her eyes. "My daughter, remember where you come from. We are not rich, but we have dignity. Do not let the flashy life of the city distract you. Focus on your studies, and one day, you will lift this family out of poverty." Adaise nodded and promised to make them proud. But the moment she stepped into the university, her world changed. She saw girls dressed in expensive clothes, using the latest phones, and riding in flashy cars. She envied them. Her small room in the hostel and her simple dresses made her feel inferior. One day, she met Tund, a wealthy businessman who often visited campus to spoil young girls. He noticed Adaise's beauty and immediately showered her with gifts. At first, she hesitated, remembering her mother's advice. But the temptation was too strong. Soon, she was wearing designer clothes, carrying expensive handbags, and dining in luxurious restaurants. But Tund was not the only one. Adaise entertained several wealthy men who lavished her with money and gifts. She no longer attended lectures regularly, believing that life was about enjoyment. She ignored the warnings of her roommate, Chika, who tried to remind her of her humble background. Then one day, everything changed. Adaise missed her period. At first, she ignored it, thinking it was stress. But when months passed, the truth dawned on her: she was pregnant. Panic set in. She tried calling Tund, but his number was no longer reachable. The other men, they all disappeared the moment she mentioned pregnancy. Ashamed and broken, she had no choice but to return home. Her parents were devastated. Her mother wept uncontrollably, while her father, too heartbroken to speak, simply turned his back on her. The entire village whispered about her downfall. With no degree, no man to claim responsibility, and a baby on the way, Adaise was forced to live with the consequences of her choices. The life she once dreamed of slipped through her fingers, and she was left with nothing but regret. Moral of the story: choices have consequences. No matter how tempting the world may seem, discipline and focus will always lead to a brighter future.
Please subscribe for more.